Why do so many people want to go to Calcutta in India? Calcutta was called the Pleasant City in the famous film City of Joy. We went to Calcutta with sister and poet Lee Hae-in, thinking about those words. Anybody coming here witnesses the joy of freedom among the thirsty, poor people on the street. And everybody coming here is eager to meet the mother of these poor people. The great poet Tagore of India once wrote, "Your footstep will stop at the dwelling of the poorest of the poor and at the loneliest and abandoned people's place." A poem like this predicted that Mother Teresa would remain in Calcutta. As a beacon illuminating this confused era, she is redefining the meaning of life and love in the very place where people are being abandoned. She is practicing love by providing care for the poor people, irrespective of race, gender, faith, language, and nationality. During the day, the street that is already teeming with people becomes even more crowded and noisy with dogs, cows, and crows.
This is this Circular Hotel? Nice to meet you. Shall I go upstairs with Mother Teresa?
Yeah, 70%.
70%.
They are coming in within December to February for the work with Mother House.
Work
Yeah.
as volunteer.
Yeah,
They want to
6 o'clock,
serve.
everybody. Yeah,
I see.
and about
Yeah.
12:30 they will
Yeah.
come
Shall
back.
I write?
The so-called withering city, Calcutta, with a population of 12 million, is peaceful at night in spite of the jangling wheels of the train and the sputtering sounds of automobiles. Calcutta is neither a city of commerce and industry, nor a center of politics, culture, and art. Rather, it is a city of the poor as well as of Mother Teresa. Without the poor, Mother Teresa cannot be here, and without Mother Teresa, the poor cannot be. She always said that the poor people are great. While riding on a train to Darjeeling for a retreat in her 30s, she received a calling from God and chose a new life without any doubts. It was the most beautiful deed in the eyes of God. Determined to be with the poorest of the poor, she received permission from the papal office to leave the Laredo community which she had served for 20 years. Back in Calcutta, saying goodbye to the Laredo robe, she changed it for a cheap white and blue Indian traditional sari and founded, with the hope of young followers, the Missionaries of Charity, in order to live the life of the poorest herself and to help them. Mother Teresa, born in Skopje, Yugoslavia in 1910, and from a happy family, says, "I was born Albanian, but I am an Indian citizen now, and as a Catholic nun, all my doings belong to the world, although my soul resides only in the arm of Christ." Mother Teresa, who founded the Missionaries of Charity and lived with the poorest of the poor for a long time, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. It was not only a celebration of her charity, but also an expression of the yearnings of all human beings for the recovery of humanity.
주님, 칼카타의 아침이 밝았습니다. 우리도 일으켜 세워주십시오. 고통의 언덕에서 3번이나 쓰러지시며 절망의 나락에서 일어나신 주님. 1994년 우리 모두는 생각을 넘는 충격으로 상처를 입었습니다. 어찌하여 우리는 내 친부모를 증오해야 했으며 자신보다 좀 더 가졌다는 연유로 인성을 저버린 복수를 해야 했습니까? 가정에서조차 소외된 그들, 우리 영혼은 황폐한 들판에 버려졌으며 누구도 봐주지 않는 외로움으로 울부짖어야만 했습니다.
To arrange a meeting with Mother Teresa, we had to wait for a long time in Korea. Part of the reason is that she is a very busy person, always willing to visit any place where poor people are waiting, Bombay or Rome. The streets of Calcutta in the morning are full of energy. Who called it a waning city? Even though it is a city to which poor people flock, Calcutta is a city just as full of passion for life as any other city. Calcutta, which was nothing but a quiet fishing town until the British East India Company established a trading post in 1690, was named after Calicut, a Hindu temple. Near the mother house of Mother Teresa, a mosque is seen. The missionaries of charity send missionaries to more than 100 countries in 5 continents, and 54A Circular Road in Calcutta became the mother house of Mother Teresa. It has a very small front door, barely big enough for a man to pass through.
들었었는데 한 목수님은 여기 없어요?
The house is always filled with people waiting to meet Mother Teresa. Most of them are volunteers from all over the world who want to lead a new life and find the true meaning of life. There are also tourists who simply want to get a glimpse of Mother Teresa from a distance. And there are hungry people asking for food and lonely people who want to feel loved in the smile of Mother Teresa.
You have given us a model of life in the Holy Family of Nazareth. Help us, O loving Father, to make
In May
our
1981,
family another
Mother
Nazareth.
Teresa threw the medal of Mary into the Imjin River and prayed for the unification of the divided Korea. As a person who practices and emphasizes reconciliation and unity, she often visits conflict areas and conveys a message of peace. In the morning Mass, held in the Church of the Missionaries of Charity, we saw her for the first time after we arrived in Calcutta. We quietly sat down beside her while she was in deep meditation and waited for the Mass to begin. The morning Mass was always open to anyone. At first, she gave the sacrament to young women who will soon take the vows of a nun. They decided to serve the poor and the sick, as Jesus Christ did himself. No one can talk about a mystic experience until he or she has met Mother Teresa. Our souls can only be awed in feeling her presence. Her hands and feet are very rough, and her face is marked with deep wrinkles. We cannot help feeling shame and guilt in seeing her rough hands and feet, which seem to symbolize the pain of the suffering people. Amid the sunlight beaming into the interior of the church, which has no lighting, we fell into a meditation thinking about her spirituality. Anybody who holds her hand can feel the love that can be realized on earth.
Mother,
Nice to meet you.
Nice
God
to
bless
meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're too big for me.
we are very appreciative for you allowing us to be here. Because I brought many greetings from Korean people who loves you very much. Is there any special meaning this cross?
No,
No.
this is hard. See, like the women, when they get married, they have a ring
I see.
on the
So,
finger.
I see.
So same thing. We have the cross here, connection with the heart.
I see. You have three lines. Is there any special
no,
meaning?
no. The, only the blue is in honor of Our Lady.
Yes.
But this line, no meaning.
I think
And out of respect, first time I bought this from the market. But from the time we are using this as a religious habit, and they are not selling anymore.
exactly since when do you use
We make it
sari as a
ourselves.
habit?
Our leprosy patients are preparing it.
That's why, yeah. We have been there.
You went there, you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw.
That changed their life completely. Now each one has their own little house,
yes.
their whole family together. Before they used to run away here, there, everywhere.
There was
Now,
big rehabilitation.
they have a beautiful rehabilitation
Yes.
center and plenty of food and everything.
Yes.
And we pay them as
Yes.
people are paid outside.
Yes. Also, some families.
Yes, the whole families.
Yes.
They have, government gives me land,
Yes.
and then I buy the material, give it to them, they build their own house.
see.
I pay them for building
Yes.
their own little house,
Yes.
and life begins.
Yes. The brother Pino
Yes.
guided us very
Very
kindly,
beautiful.
and then we saw
Yes.
many children,
Yes.
parents,
Yes.
and then I saw also very old man who was a cobbler section.
Everybody is beautiful, very, very happy. They are very happy, thank God.
How could we come? They are very they look so happy, although they are
Because
very
now
sick.
they are living normal life, sister, like everybody else. They have the children, we have little school for them. Some of their children are studying, and so because a child born of a leper family is not a leper.
Yeah. Do you also often go there?
Yeah?
Do you visit there sometimes?
Yeah,
Leper
yes,
center.
I go there and
Yes.
see them. And then we have a mobile clinic, and the sisters go and
Brother Wino guided us kindly to the Titagar Leprosy Rehabilitation Center. They were all miserable lepers and were living with their families. But this old woman was abandoned by her family when she was diagnosed with leprosy.
She's not patient. She's not, no. She was a patient. Now she's cured. Yeah, she cannot be at home. That's Indian custom. That's Indian custom and touching grain. That's Indian custom. She was a school teacher.
A middle-aged leper who used to be a high school teacher smiled after exchanging names with us.
Cross চিহ্ন একবার করো তো কেমন করে আমরা
I'll pray for you. Okay? God loves you.
All the patients, who were once barbers, architects, and other professionals, were deprived of all the opportunities of life.
Present.
Operation. Then
Finger.
finger.
But they began to come back to life in this rehabilitation center. In this center, they could forget their wounds and find a joyful life. Weaving the saris for the sisters could perhaps be the most worthwhile labor in their lives. Could there be a more exciting thing than this in the world? Trying on the robe, Sister Lee feels as if she has become a disciple of Mother Teresa. An old man teaching the children also found a new life in the Titagar Leprosy Center. Mother Teresa says that the kindness of the Indian government is allowing her to run the large center by paying only 1 rupee a year, tax-free. Every human being leaves for another world sooner or later. Lepers are great people, endowed with a special gift called suffering. We can witness that the loneliest people among the abandoned are sharing the pain and the joyfulness of life with Mother Teresa.
As you know, this year is the year of family set by the United Nations. I heard the Korean participants in the Mass for the Year of Family in the Vatican Square were deeply impressed by your speech. Can you kindly tell us your words again?
yes, family that prays together stays together. And if they stay together,
Yes.
they will love each other as
Yes.
God loves each one of them. So let us, if we could bring prayer in the family life, I think we'll be able to help many families, because I believe that what blood is to the body, prayer is to the soul. And so it is very important to be able to grow in holiness. You must learn to pray and take the trouble to pray. Because Jesus has said very clearly, be ye holy, as the Father in heaven is holy. Yeah. Prayer is a sure way to great holiness.
Thank you. What was your opinion about the abortion?
Abortion is the greatest killing today. The greatest evil in the world today. Because if a mother can kill her own child, what is left for other people to kill each other? There is so much killing going on around the world because of that.
Yes.
And if the child, they are killing the most beautiful gift of God. The child is a gift of God.
I think you often talked about opposition.
I can
of
give
abortion.
you my talk, sister.
Your talks
I gave a big talk in Washington. On
about
the 1st of March. I'll give you that and you can print it or use it.
Yes.
And then I also gave a talk. I didn't talk, but I wrote a message, and they had that in Egypt when they had that big meeting. Mm-hmm. So I wrote to them also, and they had very beautiful. So they have used it everything. So I can give you both these and see you can make full use of it. Yes. I've given it to, they gave it in United States all over the place. They used it. Mm-hmm. Both Mr. The president and his wife were there. Yes. Yeah. God has been very good to us. And make use of nothingness to show His greatness. No.
Can children growing up in such family, such disloved family, with the hope of society in the future, what would be your opinion about the youngsters in world today?
The best is, sister, let us bring prayer in the family, and if the children are taught to pray and pray with their parents, I'm sure we'll have a better world.
Yes,
I'm very sure.
Yes, very sure.
So I've seen it again and again. The families that have started praying, being together, there is peace, there is unity, there is joy.
Yes.
Because prayer gives a clean heart.
Yes.
And a clean heart can live in peace with each other.
Yes. What can the religious people and then the Catholic faithful would do about this kind of destructive world, including the disloved family and then the world destructive world, because they also destroy nature.
All of us must try to bring prayer. I have great faith in prayer.
Yeah, great faith.
Great faith. If we can bring prayer in our families, in the family life, doesn't matter whether Hindu or Muslim, but I teach them all to pray.
I see.
And bring the prayers, as long as they get together. And family that prays together stays together. And if they stay together, they will love each other as God loves them, and that's more important.
At Shishivan, a children's home, which was converted from the manor of a lord, many orphans are living under the protection of Mother Teresa. Deprived of their mother's bosom, they are lullabied to sleep in the arms of volunteers. Some babies are abandoned for being mentally retarded or physically handicapped from the moment they are born. With her strong anti-abortion belief, Mother Teresa receives abandoned children as her adopted sons and daughters. They are fed and loved like young birds nurtured by the mother bird. They tend to cry when they are laid down, even for a moment, as if they miss mother's warm breast and tender hands. At Frandom, an asylum for the aged, Old people are spending the twilight of their lives being supported by young nuns.
Welcome to Korea.
How many of you would have final profession tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh, tomorrow.
Yes, we'll go.
We'll go to the war.
Old people are being abandoned everywhere. Some are from well-to-do families, while others were abandoned for being senile. They ought to live with their families. Although they deserve the enjoyment of family life, their need is ignored everywhere. At Frandom, people who are healthy enough to work are given jobs and can enjoy their private life. Some people polish the floor with palm nuts, while others write in their diaries or draw pictures. Tangara is a reformatory for women who are just released from prison. The most difficult modern chronic disease to cure is not leprosy, cancer, or tuberculosis, but the feeling that one is useless, not taken care of, and abandoned. The worst evil is not only the attitude lacking love and mercy, but also the indifference to the homeless living on the street. They are the victims of poverty and disease, brought on by exploitation and corruption. In the modern era, hunger is not only the problem of bread, but the deprivation of human dignity for the poor.
Look at this one. Yes.
Because nobody wants, but
Yes, it's beautiful.
if they compare,
But they never complain. I've heard rich people complain.
Yes.
I've never heard poor people complain.
yes, yes.
And these are the poorest of the poor who have nothing, nobody. Beautiful. Yeah.
So one more question.
Yes.
As in India, India is
Missionary for charity, help us to do all the good we can, keep us in your heart, bless us and be all for Jesus truth. Yeah.
oh Jesus,
True
Mary,
True Mary. So
Oh,
pray
would
for
you,
us.
yeah, would you
Radha.
handle one more giving all the just to give us one message to the
Calicut, the temple of the Hindu god Shiva, is on the busiest and most crowded street. Along the street, slums and shops stand closely together. This street is a place for relaxation and also a place for cremations. Here, a festival is held every day. It is a marketplace that carries practically everything. It is also a place to burn incense for the dead and to hold a funeral. The characteristic of Calicut is to accept death comfortably. The gray building besides the temple is the mother house of Mother Teresa. In 1946, Mother Teresa chose the Calicut area for her mission. People who didn't know Mother Teresa laughed at her in the early days of her endeavor. Calicut to die. Most of them were Hindus and wanted to be cremated. She went to the city hall and asked the officials to provide a place to take care of the dying with love, and then to let them die with dignity. She said that seeing the dying people on the street made her very sad. Moved by her sincere appeal, the city granted a corner of the temple to her. On August 22, 1952, when the permit was given from the city, she started the holy work in Calicut. It was the day of the Virgin Mary, but she faced strong opposition, especially from the neighborhood areas. However, nobody could stop the sweet scent shed by the power of love. a home for those who are about to die. It is a hospice for the dying people. At the entrance of the home, it is written, Nirmal Hriday. There stands the first desk of Mother Teresa. The peculiar thing is that this house has no gate and is always wide open. Anyone can come in and lie down. Upon entering the room, one is overwhelmed by the motionless shape of the people lying on the floor and the strange smell. After a closer look, however, one can see that the bodies are slightly moving. Nirmal Hriday means where the people with clear minds are staying. In this house, nobody dies in despair. Nobody is dying from hate, hunger, or indifference. If there is a most noble house in Calcutta, it is this house, where people are waiting for death. The last moment of their lives is dignified with proper rites according to their religion and their will. Some people want water from the Ganges River, while others want holy water, kind words, or a prayer.
What country? American?
Yes, French. French.
French? French? How about she? How about she?
She's Switzerland.
Switzerland? Did you meet here?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yes.
What is your feeling of working with Finland?
I love to do
In the hospice, all of their wishes are satisfied. Some people want an apple, while others want a loaf of bread or a cigarette. There are some people who simply want to sit and do nothing.
And share this joy with all you meet. God bless you, Mother.
This is the
In the hospice, all of their wishes are satisfied. Some people want an apple, while others want a loaf of bread or a cigarette. There are some people who simply want to sit and do nothing. This simple room is Mother Teresa's office, where she makes all the decisions.
and with your name.
And this room is where she meets all the visitors. She said to reporters that something beautiful had happened after she started this work, as many people have rushed to Calcutta from all over the world. Ordinary citizens are gradually becoming interested in her work. They had passed by dead people in the street before, but they now hurry to help the dying. This shows that the people of Calcutta are interested in helping the dying or poor people. There is nothing more surprising than this. To turn one's eyes upon the poor or dying people is striking for the ordinary citizens. They used to call the police whenever they saw a dead body, but they now know that there is always Mother Teresa who will receive it gladly. Among the many followers of Mother Teresa are girls from well-to-do families. Sometimes Caucasians are seen. They are the ones who gave up the easy and comfortable life. In this ceremony, they make a vow to follow Mother Teresa. They sign the document which contains one more vow than what the ordinary faithful pledge. In addition, vowing to live in poverty and lead a life of integrity and obedience, they pledge to become the poorest people in the world and help the poor. It is a beautiful ceremony, and Sister Lee, the poet, dedicates a poem to Mother Teresa.
It was a long journey of Christ to come here in India, the land of power, Mother's wrinkled face and hands. They became deep symbol of endless love in the length of time. 사랑의 전달자들과 함께 길고 긴 목마름과 그리움의 순례자로 우리는 이곳 인도에 왔습니다. 타고르와 간디의 땅, 가나안 이의 어머니 마더 데레사가 사시는 이 땅에 이곳은 많은 이들이 찾아와 그리스도를 사랑하고 세계를 사랑하고 가나안 이를 사랑하는 법을 배우는 아름다운 집, 하느님의 몽당 연필로 쓰이길 원하는 많은 봉사자들이 모여드는 집입니다. 오늘 우리는 보았습니다. 사랑의 선교회의 원초적인 발전소 보물섬이신 어머니를. 그대들은 하느님의 기쁜 소식입니다. 그대들은 행동하는 하느님의 사랑입니다라고 우리를 깨우쳐 주시는 마더 데레사. 다른 일을 더 많이 아끼고 생각하는 예수를 끊임없이 배우라고 요청하시는 이 시대의 어머니를. 우리는 마더 데레사의 그 목화 같은 미소를 사랑하고 주름투성이의 얼굴과 손을 사랑합니다. 그 주름들은 지난 오랜 세월 동안 깊게 패인 가난한 이들을 위한 사랑의 언어입니다. 말로 작아지시고 허리가 많이 굽으신 마더 데레사. 비록 당신의 겉모습은 초라해져도 내적 사랑은 시들지 않는 초록이리니 당신과 함께 했던 그 모든 시간들 결코 잊지 않겠습니다.